Hi, thanks again for watching. Andy here with part 2 of the crystal business, of how we get crystals for free, how we get the best out of crystals, the best possible use and outcomes using crystals in the real world when we found them in the spiritual world. One way I spoke about in the last video is to visualize and believe. And we can believe, actually, it's not that much of a mad thing to say, because we know for a fact that the earth is actually full of very rich, beautiful crystal deposits which haven't been disturbed, haven't been messed about with, and are sending energy to all of us all the time. I used to have quite a good laugh, actually, because rich people would come in the shop and spend like £600 on something. And I think, well, you know, there's like something 10 times the size of that buried in the earth somewhere near here that we don't know about, that would probably do you 10 times as much good, but you had to dig it up and own it. Fair enough, that's not a bad affirmation in itself, and that amethyst geode was a very great healer, actually. You just put your hand in there and you could feel the healing coming over you. Absolutely wonderful. But there's another way, and I learned about this when I was first starting to look into internet spirituality. That there was a course on offer for it. I'm not actually going to say who that course is with, because I've seen videos of that person. They've got a blocked crown chakra and a blocked throat chakra. They're absolutely surrounded with junk, and they're talking as if they don't really care about it. So I'm not going to advertise it. But basically, you could pay this person a lot of money to program an etheric crystal for you. So what is an etheric crystal? Well, it's ethereal. It's in the ether. It doesn't exist as a physical thing. But this depends how real you believe that, you know, the manifestation thoughts we have and the connections we have to spirituality, to the spiritual realms and the universe, how real and tangible you feel those things can be. And if that's a difficult one, because this is very subtle, you know, you've got to engage your mind with it to really experience it, then just keep trying, okay? I mean, it's a case that Rome wasn't built in a day. Certainly, I mean, when people begin meditating and trying to visualize things, certain things that we're already aware of in the real world come back to haunt us. Have I got enough milk? Should I even be drinking milk? Milk was meant for cows. Oh dear. And then, you know, one thought leads to another thought, and pretty soon we've lost track of the meditation and the visualization. But keep working on that, right? That is basically the first gift of meditation, to show you the things that your life would be easier, either without or if you changed them a bit. Very often it's children, you know, concerns around children. And anybody who's got a family, the last thing they want to do is actually kind of not have the children. I mean, it's the best thing in life. But we can find ways of looking after the children and just building maybe just a minute here and there into our own day. Not a very selfish thing, to get in touch with the self. And we have to have that. You can't pour from an empty vessel. I'm always saying it. So basically that is the way into etheric crystals. And if you go at it with that much trust, because intent is everything, I'm sure you'll get much better results than if you think, oh yeah, this crystal's £109.99, yeah, I'll buy that. Because you could put it on a shelf and forget about it. I've got a very expensive crystal here, which I'm almost ashamed to mention, that I've just hardly ever used. Some people would give their right arm for it, but it's just not a big thing with me. I know at some point it will become useful and I'll start working with it, because it's found me for a reason. But I don't know what that reason is yet. It's just kind of the way of things. Right, I've got a low battery warning. I'm getting a bit fed up with my phone and its constant low battery warnings. So this has been a short video so far, but it's a very similar visualization technique to visualizing the crystals in the earth. Because although they're really physically there, we can't see them and we don't know where they are. So we put out that mental connection, that psychic link, and we find it coming back. I keep saying this, it's so important though. Intent is everything. And if you keep, you know, genuinely trying to make something work in the spiritual realms, and it's for the best reasons and it's for the good of everyone concerned, you'll really make some progress. You really will. It's a positive message, but I can't really make it real to you unless you start trying these visualizations. They will work. So it's closing your eyes and it's breathing deeply. A good way to breathe if you're going into meditation is to breathe in about maybe 4 or 5 seconds in. Hold it for a couple of seconds, and 5 or 6 seconds out as you breathe out. And you can even make a noise and go And that raises your mind's internal subconscious awareness of how your body is, how tense you might be, anything you might be worried about. The brain consciously goes about relaxing then. We get into that space and we close our eyes and we lift our thoughts this time. Instead of going down into the earth, we lift our thoughts above. And out there in the ether, somewhere so far away from Earth, we cannot see it, but spiritually so close we can almost touch it, is the crystal we want to work with. It might be worth £1 million. It might be a cheap one that your friend's got and doesn't want to lend you. It might be one you've lost. You never know, but you can see that crystal. Just tell yourself you can see it. Ask yourself, what does it look like? It'll be a beautiful thing. And once you've identified it, you can begin to work with it. It's the same thing, it's intent, and it's okay, it's getting a crystal without paying a lot of money, but just paying money for something doesn't make it work perfectly. I mentioned before the connection with Reiki, that Mrs. Takata, who brought Reiki to the West from Japan, sternly told everyone you must charge for it. If people have got no money, then they're not meant to have it. Well, that's rubbish, I've been a spiritualist medium and it works. I can give messages out and link to the other side most of the time anyway. I've been doing that for about 9 years now in churches live. And I know these things are real. So much harder if you don't know they're real. But you'll get to know they're real if you keep trying and you keep practicing. There's loads of support there. The way the world is now, with all the tension, all the financial troubles, all the imbalances, hostilities, war, conspiracies going on everywhere, we aren't meant to live like that, okay? We're meant to go through the experience because it's all part of our learning and it's all part of the planet's learning, but we're not meant to really feel that much tension and hurt and upset. The answers are there, and if we can't afford to go and buy a crystal, we can link to one on the earth, or the etheric crystals that I'm talking about now. Even if you can afford a really big crystal, I would try it this way. It's much more magical, it's much more real, and it makes things happen. I finish that bit about being a medium, right? So, because I forget what I'm talking about so often. Oh dear, little tiny bit of brain damage that I'm working through here, folks. Bear with me if you would. I became a medium, you see, free of charge. I met a really, really excellent medium on a psychic website. He taught me just about everything I know, and then I went out into churches and began learning from church mediums as well, who added a great deal to that and made me able to be a platform medium. I'll never forget what people like that did. But it's never really cost me anything. The first chap who taught me didn't charge me a penny and gave me many readings that he could easily have charged £30 or £40 for at the time, maybe 60 now. The churches, it costs about £2 a time because you go and sit in a circle and there's tea and biscuits and you have to hire, someone's got to pay to hire the hall. So it's £2, £2 British. That's like probably about $2 the way things are at the moment. That's all it was, and I did that again and again, but I'm sure I have never spent more than about 150 quid on developing it as a medium. Over 10 years, £15 a year, not too bad. But never mind about money. This is the point. Money is not the most important thing. Drop down into that special space of awareness where you're aware of your inner soul. Pretty much like Doreen Virtue taught you to do. I know she's gone off and renounced it now, but it's still the same truth. Drop down into that part of yourself. Visualize your etheric crystal. No one else can have yours. It's just there for you. And you just work with it that way. And you will get forward. Okay, folks, thanks very much for watching. I hope that's some help. I'll get into some real crystals soon and we'll start talking about that. The manifestation series will continue as soon as I can get the green screen working so I can have the swirly dream flag pattern, because that is kind of important in manifestation as well. Have a brilliant day, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share me around your social media networks and everywhere else if you possibly can, because it's so good to get the word out. Have a good one. Bye-bye.